Living with ADHD can be a challenge, and dating with ADHD is definitely a challenge, we've heard many of you say. But finding the right care and proper tools needed to succeed can be life-changing. Done is an online ADHD care platform that can get you all the resources you need to help manage your ADHD. Online visits, refills, and a 24/7 care team made for you. In just 1 minute, Done's online assessment can help kickstart your ADHD treatment journey. With experienced clinicians, worry-fill refills, and online visits, you can start getting personalized care as soon as today or tomorrow. So contact an expert team that can help you around the clock and get a personalized treatment plan just for you. Here's how you do it. Take a free 1-minute assessment and book an appointment with a licensed ADHD clinician as soon as the next day. Get continuous care, one-click refills, insurance coverage, and 24/7 care team support with Done for just $79 a month, and pharmacy copays as low as $0. Visit get.donefirst.com/podcast to learn more. That's get.donefirst.com/podcast to learn more. Done. Turn ADHD into your strength. Hi, I'm Yue Xu.
And I'm Julie Krafchick.
We're active daters turned dating sociologists.
Here to dive into everything modern dating and relationships.
Welcome to the Dateable Podcast. It's time for a brunch talk where we dive into your burning dating questions, and we want to get to the bottom of anything that you're going through that's pressing.
I feel like you need to make like a jingle. Like every time you say like, it's time for brunch talk, it almost feels like you're about to like start singing.
It's time for brunch talk. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll have AI do it. We'll have a different jingle each time.
That could be funny.
That would be funny. We should do an AI-generated jingle each time.
Just to see what it comes back with, if nothing else.
It's copyright-free. We can use it. It's fine. We're good. But this brunch talk, we have a question, and the question is, should couples be able to freely look at each other's phones?
Whew, it's a good one. And then the person that wrote in said, do you think that you should be able to see your partner's phone without asking for permission? Or do you think each person in the couple is entitled to a level of privacy that doesn't allow their partner to ever look at their phone?
I'm thinking back to all the times that I looked at a partner's phone and never found anything good. I can guarantee you that. I do think there needs to be a level of privacy for everybody. And it's not like secrets you're hiding.
Yeah.
It's nice to know that there's some things that are just yours that nobody else can see. But I also think it's important at some point in a relationship to know each other's phone codes in case of emergency, in case you need to get into the phone somehow, and that whatever your partner finds, it's not going to hurt or damage the relationship.
Like, I feel you don't need to be morphed into one person and to like have all the same access.
No.
I guess the question for me is like, why do you feel the need to look at your partner's phone? Because that really is something bigger than just the phone. Like having access, like, yeah, like you said, is it because you want, like, God forbid there's an emergency, you want to be able to do something, or is it that you want to see their every move and you don't trust them? Like, I think those are very different things. And I don't know, I'm just like thinking about my own phone. Like I look up some weird shit, especially for Dateable. Like that doesn't mean anything, right? So it's just like, it just becomes a weird environment, I think, if you're just looking at every interaction someone's making digitally and like drawing conclusions from it. I think if someone is being weird about their phone and like a message comes in and they're really making clear that you don't see who is sending things, like I think that's a different vibe too. Like I think it really comes down to like what is happening with the phone that's causing you to ask this question in the first place.
Yeah. Everything you see on a phone probably needs some sort of context. And when taken out of context, could be hurtful, could be damaging. But if there are boundaries between two people, so let's go back to this. Like in a relationship, we can't tell you what's right for you. You need to figure it out with your partner.
Right.
You need to figure out the boundaries and agree on those. Maybe it is we know each other's passcodes and we will only use it in case of emergency. Like I need to get your mom's number.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever. But I'm not going to use it out of spite. I'm not going to use it just to be curious where you are. Those are the boundaries that you draw. Or you say, maybe in a relationship, I've never seen this work, but maybe this could work for some people. Once a month, we get to have each other's phones and freely go through it and see whatever is on there, and no judgment zone. Let's just be radically honest once a month with our phones. I don't know. Maybe that could work for some people too, but you have to agree on that.
So my partner is an incredibly private person, which is kind of a miracle that he dates me. It does this podcast. Anyways.
Well, you've never mentioned his name. So
I have not. Yeah. And that's always been like a topic of like maintaining privacy too. But long before me, he's like, not on any social media for privacy. He works in engineering, in software and technology, and is very privacy conscious, I guess is the right word to say it.
Yes.
So he has a very hard boundary of not giving me access to his phone. Like if it was me, I'd probably give him my password. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't want him in there all the time. But for him, it's his one thing that he really doesn't want me to get access to. And I don't worry about it though. Like there's never been a day, like I see him like the texts coming up on his phone, like they're always from his family. Like I'm not like concerned that he's like doing weird stuff. I think for him, it's just privacy is something he holds and it's something individual. I would say it's only kind of annoying, like if the phone freezes up and we're like listening to music in the car and I'm like, oh, can you put your password in? That's like the one time it actually bothers me. And at first I was a little taken back by it at first because I'm like the same that you said is, oh, what if there's an emergency? He's like, what emergency would there be? Like you have my health insurance card. You have my mom's phone number. Like there's nothing in my phone that would be needed. So I think it really comes down to like, what value are we actually putting on our phones? Like what is the real thing here? And maybe for some people, they carry all their emergency stuff in their phone. Like I think it's different for every person, but I think we need to like understand what it actually means to someone before we make assumptions of like what we do and what we don't. And then ultimately too, for me, is this really the biggest deal in my relationship? No, it's not like I don't trust my partner. So let him have his privacy. That's how I look at it.
Gaining that sort of understanding is essential in a relationship. He could have easily just said it's a hard no and not explain his relationship to privacy, right? And I think it's really nice to have couples openly discuss that. And I totally get it. You share a space, you see each other every fucking day.
Yeah.
Like, just give me my phone. Just give me my phone. That's my thing. I'll take it to the bathroom, look at it for 2 hours. Like, that's my thing. Nobody else can say anything or do anything about it. I also have to say that on my phone, like I'm trying to think if my man friend wanted to look at my phone, is there anything I wouldn't want him to look at?
Love that you call him man friend still.
He'll be a man friend forever. I do think there are some things that maybe I'm not comfortable with him looking at. Not that I think it's hurtful or damaging, but yeah, I do sometimes send photos of him to my mom, and he's like, you should probably clear that with me. But I'm like, it's for my mom. She just wants to see us. Those are photos, and they're just like little things that I think he'd be questioning. Why are you doing that? But it wouldn't actually damage anything in our relationship.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's just like, what is it at the end of the day? I mean, I think this whole thing with privacy in a relationship, we had an episode the other week about this 1 + 1 = 1 mentality with relationships with Dr. Sarah, where we talked about the common belief is once you get into a relationship, you kind of morph into one person. But her whole thing was like, no, you stay individuals and then your relationship is that third entity. So there is this level of privacy that you kind of do need as an individual, that it's not like a given that once you get into a relationship, now you just give every aspect of yourself over.
Exactly. And when you go into someone's phone unwillingly from them, you're never going to find anything good.
No.
It's always going to be bad news bears. So just keep that in mind and understand that a lot of what you see will be out of context.
Yeah. So I want to go into that more of just what happens when you really feel the need to go into someone's phone. But before we do, let's take a quick break to hear from our sponsors.
This episode is sponsored by 310 Nutrition. Okay, be honest. How good are you at hydrating? I personally have a tracker which constantly reminds me that I am not hydrating enough. But now I rely on 310 Nutrition for everything from water hydrators, which make your water delicious and nutritious, to refreshingly healthy lemonade mixes, and they're all in one shakes. Whatever your personal goals may be, from getting hydrated to healthier habits, 310 Nutrition is satisfying, guilt-free, and a helpful tool to whatever goals you have for your health. And we just got these great products from them as a sponsor of the show. And I was immediately drawn to the lemonade mixes because, one, they have no sugar, and two, how refreshing does this sound? My favorite is the blackberry flavor lemonade, which is such a treat. Right now, 310 is celebrating a new year of goals with the code DATEABLE and giving our listeners 50% off, up to $100 off your first order. With so many sample packs, new products, it's really fun and easy to put together an order or start a subscription on products you know you'll use. Go to 310nutrition.com and use the code DATEABLE right now for 50% up to $100 for your first order. That's 310nutrition.com and use the code DATEABLE. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. How is your social battery right now? Mine is a little drained just because I feel like it takes so much out of me to socialize during dark winter months. It can be easy to ignore our social battery and spread ourselves thin. Do you know what's the right amount of socializing for you? And how do you recharge? Maybe you thrive around people, or maybe you need some more alone time, like me. Therapy can give you the self-awareness to build a social life that doesn't drain your battery. Personally, therapy has helped me set boundaries around my social calendar so I can maximize my time with people I care about without feeling FOMO. I don't feel like I have to say yes to every invite, but the gatherings I do go to, I show up as my best self. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Find your social sweet spot with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/dateable today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/DATEABLE. Want relationship advice from one of the leading experts in the field of couples therapy? Then Reimagining Love is for you. Hosted by one of our favorite guests on Dateable, Dr. Alexandra Solomon. She is a clinical psychologist, couples therapist, professor, and award-winning author. It is your destination for profound, enlightening discussions about love, family, intimacy, and everything in between. But more than that, she gives us the opportunity to reimagine ourselves, our relationships, and our world. So on the show, Dr. Alexandra gives in-depth, research-backed takes on topics like dating, jealousy, communication, commitment, personal growth, and features notable guests from the worlds of therapy, academia, and pop culture, such as me and Julie from Dateable, among other people you may have heard of like Esther Perel, Susan Cain, and Emily Nagoski. Her podcast is incredible, definitely worth a listen. We loved being on it, and we love having Dr. Alexandra on our show. So you can find her podcast, Reimagining Love, wherever you get your podcasts.
I feel like this is coming from somewhere. I know the listener didn't outright say, like, I have a need, but outside of just feeling like, oh, maybe it's what I should do because I'm in a relationship, like, why do you think someone would feel the need to want to be in their partner's phone? Like, outside of obviously suspecting cheating or something like that.
Sometimes it could be control. You know, maybe if you feel out of control in the relationship, that gives you some sort of agency over what's going on. And I think it's all a little bit problematic. And I think it's an opportunity to really discuss why it is that you need the control, or why it is that you have this feeling to snoop. And there's a difference between looking at someone's phone and then snooping on someone's phone.
Yes.
That's also a really good distinction to make. It's like, I just have this overwhelming need to snoop, like look at your phone without you knowing.
Right.
That's a big red flag right there.
Right. what's the deeper emotion that you're feeling? That's what I would look at. Like the lack of trust. Like I think there's something very different if someone is like always coddling their phone, or like anytime they get a call or text, they like make sure you're out of view. Then it's like, what are you hiding? So like, is it coming from the fact that you feel like they're hiding something, or is it the fact that you just like feel like that's what you do in today's world?
Yeah, I know. And this is also speaking from someone who had snooped on my ex's phone. The reason why was because he was displaying inconsistent behavior with his phone. That was what made me kind of pause and ask, why is he doing that? The whole, we're out at a dinner, he takes his phone to the restroom with him. And normally he would just leave it on the table. So stuff like that made me go, that's interesting. It's a little inconsistent. Why is he doing that?
Yeah.
But if he had always done that in our relationship, I don't think I would have even thought twice.
I was going to say, I always take my phone to the bathroom. And it's not because like I don't trust my partner to like look at it. It's just because like, oh, I want to sneak in a text to someone when I'm out. Like look at something, you know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's your consistent behavior. And maybe one day if you leave your phone on the table and not take it to the restroom, your partner could be like, what
Probably
the fuck?
not.
What's wrong with her? She left her phone.
And when I say sneak in a text, it's probably to UA. It's not to like another dude.
Yeah. Right. No, she's not like swiping on Tinder while she's out with her man.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like to wrap this, like I think both of us have the same take, is that it is not a necessity and that people do have a level to their own privacy. And if one person is feeling like they really want to see what's in the other person's phone, what is the larger issue here that you two need to address?
Yeah.
Is it lack of trust? Is it because you think your partner is doing something fishy? Or is it that you just don't trust people because of your own past? Like, I think that's worth digging into, is like, why is this even something that's crossing your mind?
Speaking from experience, I think it's always better to give your partner an opportunity to come clean if you're suspecting something versus trying to catch them.
Yeah.
So when you catch them, it is absolutely hurtful and there's no going back. But if you give them an opportunity to come clean, they have this chance to be a good person and tell you what's going on.
Yeah. You could also just bring up any inconsistency you're seeing with their phone instead of having the need to be in there.
Yeah.
I agree with you. You're just never going to find anything good. Like, even if someone's not cheating, like you're going to find some weird thing they searched for that makes you look at them differently. And it's just like, is that needed? Like, it kind of like goes back to like, I don't know why I'm equating it to this. It's like, do you need to know how many sexual partners your partner has had? Like, there are some things that are just better left unsaid. That's their private past. Like, why does that matter to your relationship?
Yeah, definitely. I would not want someone to look at my screenshots by any means. I don't know what I'm screenshotting most of the time.
Well, I feel like too, I would personally, like if I knew someone was watching my every move, I would start to feel like, I don't know, like unsure of myself or just on watch. And I think that's just a bad setup for any relationship.
That's so true.
I think that's
so
actually worse than like having access to your partner's phone, unless you truly are both like, I don't care what they see. I'm not going to make any judgment, but that's, I think, easier said than done.
Yeah. It's like you being on your work computer. There's certain things that you're like, I would never want to do this on my work computer. You don't want to treat your phone like a work phone.
Right. Exactly. Again, ultimately, you do you, have a conversation, understand what the phone and privacy means to your partner. That's the best way to approach it than to have these hard lines in the sand. Like, I need access. I don't need access.
Yeah.
Everyone's different.
Great question. Thank you for that. And for all of you who have your burning questions, you can email us hello@dateablepodcast.com, or you can DM us on Instagram @dateablepodcast is the handle. Or better yet, give us a rating and review in Apple Podcasts. Give us 5 stars. And in the body of your review, you can ask your question there, like this person did with this one. And that's why this question was bumped to the front of the line.
Yes. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next week.
Bye. The Dateable Podcast is part of the Frolic Media Network. Find more podcasts you'll love at frolic.media/podcasts. You can follow us on Instagram @dateablepodcast and visit dateablepodcast.com for access to all the episodes and our premium programs. Also, make sure to subscribe today if you haven't already on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform, so you are the first to get all the latest episodes. And most importantly, stay dateable.